Yo, what's up, guys? Hope you guys are good. Hope you are well, and happy new week. My name is Tumi WMJ, and if you are seeing my face for the first time, thank you so much for joining us for today's video right here on the podcast. We are having an absolutely good time. We've been doing so well over the past couple of weeks. I mean, we have not missed a week since we started, and I'm so excited about that. So this is the part where, you celebrate with us. And to everybody who keeps coming back, whether you are on the Apple Podcast, Spotify, or right here on YouTube, thank you so much. I really appreciate you guys, and I really appreciate the support. And as I always say, like, share, comment, and share this video with each and every single person you think is going to like this video. To everybody who lives in South Africa, thank you so much. You guys are ranking number one on Spotify in terms of where we are actually, penetrating. I see Nigeria, I see UK, I see Zim coming through. Guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And this is a shout out to all of you guys. And especially to those who are in South Africa, happy Youth Day to you guys. Happy Youth Day. Today we are celebrating 50 years since the youth of 1976 took to the streets to fight for education. It's something so beautiful that the youth then were fighting for education. And I know that in some places, even today, we are still fighting for education. So the war or the battle and the struggle really does continue, just in a different form. And I hope that wherever you are watching us from, you are encouraged to say, as we do what we do, let us not forget some of the sacrifices that the people who came before us did for us. And over and above that, let us make sure that those were not in vain. So if you have an opportunity to find yourself in a school, bettering yourself, getting that education, please do that, because that is going to be something that's going to change your life for forever. Right? So to all of you who are celebrating Youth Day, happy Youth Day to you. We are going to jump in directly into our subject today. I'm sure you guys are going to like it because it's going to be a bit fun and quirky. These are some of the things that I sometimes think about and some of the things that I personally do in my life. So if you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked, if you haven't commented, we are going to give you a little time, as we normally do, to do that. And once you do that, we are going to come back immediately after this. I know they lack nothing to give me, and you to bless me on the daily. You know I get it when you tell me no, this thing where I want to go. You set me for myself. You're so intentional for me, and other people waving tell me no. You get a little team with them, no. Your grace you go end discussion, no. So I'm sure the title of the video is already telling you what we are talking about. Today we are talking 15 edgy Christian habits that I believe every Christian should have. And I use the words very importantly because I know sometimes, not everybody, we're not the same person, and people have little nuances here and there. But these habits are inspired by the Book of Proverbs. And if you didn't know, I am currently writing an ebook that's going to come out in the month of July. And in that ebook, I'm going to be telling you guys about some of these things that I have learned from the Book of Proverbs, and that I think that every Christian should have, man. It's just stuff that why don't you have this? If you don't have them, or if it's something that you've been thinking about, maybe today's the sign that you needed that. It's time, right? It's time. So I'm going to jump straight into it. And if you need a drink, something to, sip on, whether it's tea, coffee, it's getting a bit cold. So if you need that hot chocolate, sip on it, and let's get straight into these habits. Also, they are not in any particular order. So literally taking them one after the other as I thought about them. Tell me what you think about them specifically, and tell me which ones you identify with the most. So the first one is learn to zip it. Learn to keep quiet in some instances. Learn to keep quiet in some places. I'm one of those people who really is an extrovert, so I talk a lot. And I have found how sometimes that has been problematic to me. But, it really, the Book of Proverbs teaches about how one should learn on what to and what to not say. The life of a Christian is the life of talking. You talk, you talk your way into salvation, you keep your salvation by talking, and power is in the talking, and life and death is in the power of the tongue. So talking is very important. But I have learned over the years when to zip it. Don't say anything. Keep quiet. Silence is golden, and that's something we've heard a couple of times. And I think I have learned it firsthand. So sometimes it's very important to know when to say what to say and when not to say anything. Sometimes it's really important because I have found myself in situations where I've overshared, I've said stuff I wasn't supposed to, and that ended up getting me, feeling a certain type of way because I overshared. I wasn't supposed to share that, or having to apologize because I said something I wasn't supposed to say. And I was going to tell you guys a little story, but I'm going to reserve it for later so that we go on with the rest of them. Okay. So the next one is, this one is a serious one. Be selective about your friends. There's this notion, right? And I have always been very particular about it to say the people I call friends and the people I know are two different things. So you must be very selective about your friends and the people you find yourself around. Because one thing about the relationship and the journey that we go through in terms of salvation is that the people who are around you have some sort of influence in it, because once these people are spending a lot of time with you and they find themselves in your space, there are things that they end up influencing you in and getting you to do or getting you to not do. And it's quite important that when you call someone your friend, that person is the right influence in your life. So very, very important that when you are looking at my people, my circle, my tribe, you're very selective. Have a certain kind of way that you look at it. And that will also help you in terms of some of the energies that you invest in relationships. You don't want to find yourself over investing in relationships that are not godly. And what I mean by not godly is that they lead you into things that you shouldn't be doing and that are not purposeful for your life. We will have a separate conversation about this and a separate video altogether, because I have experienced a lot when it comes to friendships. I've experienced a lot of challenges, a lot of good stuff, a lot of bad, negative things. And I would want to share some of those things with you guys, because we are here to learn from each other. And this space is really for us to commune with each other. And I think that is one of the most important things, over and above the relationship that you have with the Lord. There's this interpersonal relationships you're supposed to have with other people that really make or break your Christian experience. So that's one of the next things that I really think is a cool habit to have. Very, very cool. You must be selective. Not everyone should have access to you, and not everyone should have access to you at the same level. So people can greet you. I'm not saying you must be a horrible person. People can greet you. They can have conversations with you. But when it comes to friends and people that get to see you in specific lights, very important, the people you have in that circle. Cool. The next one, which is number 3, is leave rooms where you are not growing. And this one is a tough one, because you wouldn't then need to know when you are not growing. You need to know when, a situation is no longer working for you. And it's very important then for your intention to know how growth looks, how progress looks, so that when you can see that, man, I'm not growing here, I've reached the ceiling, I've plateaued, there's nothing I'm learning here, that you can say, then probably it's time to move on. And I want you to be honest with yourself in that, and hear me very well when I say that. I'm not saying that leave rooms where you feel like you're not growing, but because you're not growing because of your own doing. Because if you're not growing because of your own doing, even in the room you go to, you'll still not grow, because the problem here is you. So if you get into a place and you don't really have an objective about it, and you don't know what it is you're here to do, your purpose and your goals and your objectives and the vision, then it becomes very difficult for them to leave. But once you have those things and you know exactly what those things are, the moment you reach the ceiling in that particular place, you need to grow. You need to grow, and in that growth, you may need to leave that place. So comfort, no, very addictive, and you can find yourself sitting in the same place for a long time, and that's not what God wants for you. So the moment you feel like you shouldn't be in this place, it's time to go. And it really sits very closely into the next one that I have here, because this is something that I have been learning so much. But how you will then know if you're not growing is that if you are somebody who receives correction easily. Sure, when it comes to receiving correction, guys, it's such a difficult thing, especially if you are somebody who's like me, who's outspoken, who has a very strong personality, and somebody who is quite confident, I find myself in a place a lot of times, and thanks to the friends I keep, where I am always open to receiving correction, whether it's from people who are my peers, whether it's from people who are above me, sometimes even people who may not be at my level. And these people, maybe I'm teaching or I'm mentoring or whatever the case is, or someone who's just a bit younger than me age-wise. I receive correction. I'm one of those people that you will come to me and say, hey, Tumi, I don't think it was nice what you said, what you did, how you did it. I don't think it was nice. I don't think it was good. And it's just so beautiful sometimes to receive that feedback. And hence I always say, you guys can give us feedback. You can talk to us in the comment section, talk to us, tell us what you think. Because I do believe that at any point in time and at any given point, people have opinions. They have a way they see things. And sometimes there is correction in those opinions that you may need to receive. Yes, and I did say that I'm one of those people that when it comes to this particular one, I've always been open to it. My chat is when now your correction is coming in a way, Can it come with positivity? Can it come in the right way so that I'm able to also receive it? Because if you're coming at me and you're trying to correct something, it's all good and fair, but it becomes difficult for me then to receive that correction if it's coming wrapped with insults. Like, can we not do that? However, that's one of the coolest habits for me. The fact that I'm always open to correction, I'm always open to hearing how someone thinks we can do something better and how we can do it, how we can approach it, how we can find ourselves in a place where things are looking a bit better. I will move on to the next one. And, this one is also a bit, yeah. But the fifth one. The fifth one is never make decisions from a place of negative emotions. And, decision making for me is not something that's difficult, right? But decision making from the right place can get very difficult, especially if you find yourself in a thing. So that's why sometimes for me, how I would normally approach things is that I would look at the situation from different angles, and if I'm having a conversation with you and you are playing advocate for a different perspective, I'm always open to it. And it will also allow me to take a bit of time in terms of consultation and then taking a bit of time before I make that decision. And I've always learned, and I'm still learning, how to separate myself from the emotion. So something happens, right? We disagree on something and I'm feeling a certain way. This particular feeling is there, whether it's good or whether it's bad. When the emotion is positive, it's easy to say, okay, no, cool, this is what I'm going to do. But if you make that decision based on the emotion, when challenges come, it becomes even more difficult to deal with the repercussions of the decision. Whether the emotion was good or bad. Of course, right now, I'm focusing specifically on negative emotions, but generally, make the decisions from a place of clarity, a place of purpose and objective. And also from a place of, okay, what does this mean? What are the repercussions? Because people don't struggle with decision making generally, guys. People struggle with accepting the reality that decisions bring. That's just how it is. The fact that I want to resign, I know I want to resign, I'm going to resign. But it's the fact that, okay, after I resign, now I don't have a job. That's what I'm toying with. That's what I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with the fact that the moment I send that breakup text, now I'm single. Now all of the things that my partner was doing, that I was enjoying, they are no longer going to do. Now I have to be faced with the reality that, oh, now I'm alone. Hey, no good morning text. And those are the kind of things that I mean. But if I made that decision from a place of emotions, whether positive or negative, then it becomes difficult for me to deal with the repercussions. But if you make it from a place of clarity, purpose, and objective, then it's like, oh, okay, cool. No, I'm making this decision and I know what immediately after I make this decision, this is what it means. This is what's going to happen. Then it becomes easier for me then to deal with the outcomes. Cool. So let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. Oh, the next one. The next one is make discipline your personality. I think for me, this one is not tough. It's not hard at all. I'm a very consistent, disciplined person to a certain extent, and I actually received a DM not too long ago, and the person was asking me, how am I able to stay disciplined when it comes to my gym life or my gym regimes? And I said to the person, discipline shows up anyway. It's just in the trajectory of what you want or not. So, do you know that you can be disciplined in doing the wrong thing? And what I mean by that is, how we've always looked at discipline is that, are you doing the right thing? But you can find that this person is so disciplined at doing the wrong thing that they are consistent at it. Like, they have been doing this thing and this thing is wrong and that's how addiction happens. You're so disciplined at doing the wrong thing. That is what addiction is. Addiction is really you taking out your time, your energy, your effort, and investing it in doing the wrong thing. So it's you looking at the objective and changing and framing the objectives. And that's really just creating systems in your life. And that's how then the thing looks. You create the system, you rewire your brain, and your rewiring of the brain will happen automatically once you start creating the system or once you start acting the system out. It's a whole other conversation. And I know most of the things that we're going to be talking about here, I'm going to talk about them very high level because, like I said, these are just habits I feel like a Christian should have. And if you're not disciplined, you are not really showing some of the characteristics that the master has shown us. I mean, he was a disciplined person. We see it in the scripture. We see it how he would come into the church and enforce discipline, how he would tell the disciples that you need to be disciplined and be consistent in doing some of the things that I had told you to do. You know, he was tempted and he didn't change his mind. He was he was found in church at a very young age because he was looking for specific things. And I'm just mentioning these things so that we can see where we are, because it really is something that becomes so important when we look at it. When we take a step back and see and look at some of these habits, you will see what I mean when I say every Christian should have them. So that's why. One of the disciplines that I would ask you to also have is that you share this video with your friends and family. You share this video with your friends and family so that our community grows. Something like that, you know. And also discipline for me in our case is that I commit to showing up every day and recording on the days that I had said, I'm going to record this video. This is what I'm going to talk about. That is discipline for me. You know, some days, yes, it doesn't happen the way I wanted it to happen. But if I have the commitment to show up and give that effort for that particular objective, then that is discipline, you know. And that's something that I believe every Christian should have. Okay, cool. Let me move on to the next one. And this one is very, very closely linked to the first one, where I was saying that you should learn to zip it. And this one is, you know what? I'm trying to paraphrase it. The way I wrote it here is not exactly how I want to say it, but I'm gonna say it the way it's written here. But is to stay quiet when necessary. So, like I said, because I'm an extrovert, it's easy for me to overshare. And there are some things that I want to talk, this thing I want to talk about, that it's a really cool habit that the journey we have, there's processes, right? And there's things that happen. And when they happen, it's a progressive thing. There's this trend that is happening in our circles, in our Christian circles, where people overshare on platforms about things God has told them, but it's still a work in progress for them. And they end up doing what people would say, oh, you are bleeding on others because these wounds have not healed. But you are then allowing the enemy to weaponize your challenges because you are being public about them. So It's okay for you to work out your salvation on your own, in your own private space, and not find yourself having conversations about things you shouldn't be having conversations about in a public space, especially on social media. Especially on social media. You go on TikTok these days and you find people talking about things that you should not be talking about at all. It may be a testimony. And there are things, even in testimonies, that you don't necessarily have to share. You can share God's power and share exactly what is happening. But there are details you need to keep to yourself. There are workings of the Spirit that there are workings and strategies and methods of the Spirit that the enemy should not be averse to. Like we shouldn't be making them a play thing. And I hope I'm you know, I hope I'm saying it. I hope I'm saying it in the right way so that everybody gets to understand exactly what I'm saying. There's no problem in sharing a testimony because the scriptures do say, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of the testimony. But there's a way in which we share testimonies that does not make our Christianity look like it's something that is not sacred. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Cool. Next one. Refuse to be impressed by appearances. There's things that sometimes we look at and we see, and then people get easily impressed, and you're just like, oh my God, I want, just because you're seeing a Mercedes or you're seeing a Rolls Royce or you're seeing a G-Wagon, and you're like, oh my God, this man, this is a man of God. No, guys, things don't work like that. And it shows a little bit of shallowness if you don't apply yourselves to things and you are moved by material things. Workings of faith are proved by results, not material things. Material things don't equate spiritual maturity, spiritual growth, or any of those things. They don't equate depth in the spiritual realm. You could get 100K and do whatever you want with it. And just because somebody has financial resources does not mean that their spiritual maturity runs deep. So never really be impressed by such things. Don't find yourself, and it's one of the other things that, we do a lot, where we believe just because something looks a certain way, it's flashy, it's glitzy, it's glammy, that's where God is. No. It's not all the auditoriums that have air conditioners where you're supposed to worship. Yeah, no, I'm going to leave it at that. And as a Christian, somebody who is a child of God, it's very important to be financially. Be here. Be wise. When it comes to finances, when it comes to material things, like I said, it's not everything that looks like it's working, that looks like it's, that it's not wisdom. We've seen how over the past couple of years, we've seen how Christians have fallen prey to schemes, scams, and all these funny dealings. And that's because we are chasing the wrong thing. Things look a certain way, and you are not meticulous in your due diligence, in looking at things, in discerning, in you looking at things and thinking, actually, where does this, applying yourself and your wisdom to say, where does this come from? What is the origin? How does it work? And all of those things. And that's why I'm saying it's because people are financially motivated. You are not financially wise because all you can think about is money. You want money because you believe that if you have money, you'll not buy the house, you'll do this, you'll do that, and give glory to God. No. So you must be financially wise. Put the principles God has put in His Word for us. Put those principles to work, and once those principles are producing results, then give glory to God. Simple. Cool. And the next one, which is one of my favorites, is that excellence must be an act of worship for you. So when you are doing something, if you are given a project, whether it's something that you're doing at school, you're doing at work, you're doing at church, or even in your family, you should never do things and be like, as long as we are done, as long as we've done it, as long as the thing is complete, what is the quality of the product or the service that you have done, that you have given, whether it's to man or whether it's to God. It's very important that excellence is seen as something that's important, because it is important. It's not just a thing that we do. We want to be excellent. We want an excellent output, because we don't only serve an excellent God, but we are excellent children. We are excellent people. He has given us excellence as a birthright. So it's very important for me that as children of God, we use every resource that God has given us to channel the excellence. It's not even something we should be fighting for. It's something that is our nature. And if something is your nature, you execute it by just putting in the effort, putting in the right resources, and then the outcome becomes exactly what it is that you expect. One of the things that I've noticed is that most people think that excellence it comes with money. It's that, and that's not true. It's not necessarily that because I've got money, I can be excellent. You can be excellent, and the thing that you put on the table did not even cost you much. It's the level of thinking. It's some of the things that you did, the nuances and the thoughts that you had that you put in place. And this happens a lot in the church, where you'd find somebody that you work somewhere, and where you work, you really put in the effort, but it's because somebody really came in and gave you a template to succeed the things and in the things that you do there and be excellent in them. And then when it comes to the church, you feel like, no, we can give them the shoddy stuff. And it doesn't work like that. That's not an excellent way to do things, to say the best of my time, the best of everything else that I do must be given to this, and then everything else will receive whatever it is. No. Let's look at it as an act of worship to God, because we do every single thing as unto Him. All right? Cool. Let's move on. This is another one where I feel like I'm also learning a lot, but ask more questions than you give answers. So it's also okay. Receiving information is such a great thing. And I believe that a lot of young people right now want to give us information. And I say us. Why am I saying us? Wait, am I part of the older community? No, but a lot of us and the younger generations, we want to give a lot of answers more than actually ask questions. And the asking of questions is so powerful. Sometimes that is even how our questions are answered, because most times our answers, they are not even really answering the real question, or they are not looking towards what the actual problem is. So very important that sometimes in your personal life, and even when you interact with other people, when you have an opportunity to speak to people, ask more questions. I mean, the information that you want to give by answering, you already have. But if you ask the questions, you then have the opportunity to receive more. So maximize on it. And this is something my mentor used to say to me, says, when you get into a place, and funny enough, this is how even our relationship started. My relationship with my mentor, that is, where, let me give you guys this quick story. How it started is that I would always see there would be people around him a lot. People would be with him, driving with him. And then this one particular day, I had the opportunity to drive with him. And when we got into the car, I just started asking him questions. I actually asked him one question that really changed the trajectory of the interaction, because I asked him one question and then we started talking. And he was the kind of person that he was a conversationalist, honestly. And I say he was because he's now late. And the whole time we were talking, I could see just how he lit up in the conversation. And that is how our interaction was. Every time I would see him, we would have conversations. I would ask him questions, and ask him questions about things that are actually genuine and are either bothering me or I've been thinking about, or sometimes something that I'm really happy about, and then I ask him, and then of course I'll turn it into a question, and then we would have a conversation about it. So you capitalize on the time that you have with learned people, with people you admire, with people that you find important, by asking questions. And not to get there and say, oh, but the way I see this, and then you're talking, and you're telling them about Instagram. They will tell you about stuff that by the time you guys are done with the conversation, now he then comes back and says, oh, okay, what about? And now you can then, once he asks you the question, then you can now add those nuggets that you believe you have. But honestly, I really do feel like we are at a point where we need to be receptive of information so that we are able to grow, whether it's in our personal lives, our spiritual lives, or even our careers and our vocations. I mean, if I were to meet some of the people that I look up to in my career, I have questions for them. I've got questions for them that I've been waiting to ask them. So that's the next one, where you ask those questions. Cool. The next one is train yourself to enjoy delayed gratification. I know, same. It's always like, okay, this is what I want to do though, because this one is fun. And I have seen how this has worked for me. Over the past couple of weeks, over the past couple of months, where I just delayed the gratification a little bit, gives me clarity, gives me, gives me assurance that the decision I'm making is right. There's a lesson my dad used to say that in every activity you do, there must be one of three things. This is how you prioritize activities. Is this thing going to give me instant gratification, which would be immediate, which would be the one we are delaying here, or it would be something that's going to give you like medium term, short to medium term gratification, or something that would give you like longer or medium results, or this one that would be delayed and something that's longer term. And he said, when you are looking at whatever it is that you are doing, it must have one of these three things. And then the second level of prioritization would be to say, which one counts more? And of course, he would say the first two or the last two would be the things that you should be focusing on a little bit more. And if you can, have all three. In a day, have all three. Find something that gratifies you so that you can have the momentum and the energy to keep going. But what we're talking about specifically here is that delaying it sometimes saves you so much. You find yourself saving so much in resources and having to go back and redo some of those things because you delayed the instant gratification. So sometimes you have the means, you have the money. You can definitely do this. You can definitely do it right away. But just giving it a little bit of time may show you that, oh, actually, if I had done this then, this is what was going to happen. And when you are delaying that gratification, this is the time where you're praying about it. You're speaking to the Lord about it, and you are receiving and open to receiving direction. And when God speaks to us in that time, he could use so many avenues. And that's why the right friends are important. Because when you have the right people in your circle, you could find that you haven't even spoken to this person about this, because you've learned too. You haven't spoken to anyone about this. But as you're sitting there, someone comes to you and starts giving you information that's going to help you in your decision making. And that's why I say these habits are so cool, guys, because sometimes they really are so interconnected. You find yourself in a space where you want to make a decision about something. You've been thinking about this for so long. You've kept it quiet. You haven't been speaking, oversharing, and telling people what it is that you're planning. You're praying about it, and you're delaying the gratification or the nice part about it. And as you are doing this, the answer comes. And when the answer comes, you take that move quickly, speedingly, because now you know, you have that surety that the step you're about to take is the right one. And you see how nicely and interconnected these things are? Because honestly, God's plan for our life is like that. Interconnected and so beautiful. Cool, I'm going to keep it moving. Make your reputation a long-term project. So in those three things we're talking about, one of them must be your reputation. And let's talk about reputation for a little bit of a while. So when I'm talking about reputation here, I'm not talking about the things you've done wrong or the things you've done right. It's talking about you as an individual. What are you known for? What kind of person are you? When we are talking interactions, when we are talking the places and the things you find yourself in, what are you known for? And every one of us is known for something. If you didn't know, just send out a funny post on the Green app and just ask everybody, hey, what is the one thing that you know about me without me telling you? And you will see what your reputation is. It's that constant thread. That constant thread that you keep on seeing about yourself all the time, that is your reputation. That is who you are. Sometimes the reputation may be silly, but most times I think it's when you are intentional about the reputation that you are like, oh, I see it come through. I see it. I see it. I see it. I see it. And that's one of the most things that's one of the things that is very important. You build a reputation brick by brick. By you always smashing those goals, you become somebody who's known to say, listen, if you give Tumi the project, he's going to make sure it gets done no matter what. Because what? He's never had a failed project. That's a reputation right there. That's a reputation right there. The fact that something can be committed to your trust, like if somebody's like, oh no, I'm coming to you because I know that you can do this. Them knowing that you can do this is a reputation. And you know why? It's because you show up for yourself, you show up for other people, and you show up for the kingdom. That's just the kind of reputation I have. I really wonder sometimes the reputation I have on the streets when it comes to specific things. But it's important. And that's why I'm saying make it a long-term project. Let it be something that you're continuously working on. Be that kind of person that, you are known for something. And that thing, of course, must be what God wants for you. It must be what God has planned for you. That's just how I see it. And the next one, of course, very close to this particular one where you're looking at your reputation, but try as much as possible, as far as possible, not to be somebody who complains. There's nothing so annoying and so distasteful as somebody who is forever complaining. You're always complaining about something. Just the other day, I was telling someone, I'm like, guys, I have never woken up in the same South Africa where we live and seen the news headline saying everything in the shops has been slashed by 50%. You can go. Do you understand what would happen in the stores? The stampedes, the this, the that. I mean, don't complain. And I'm using it like very broadly to say, don't complain. Don't complain about anything. Don't complain about money. Don't complain about your friends. Don't complain about your job. Don't complain about the weather. It's winter. It's supposed to be cold. Eey. Personally, I'm just one of those people who's learning right now to not complain. Sometimes you're with someone and they open the menu, right? Yeah, you go to a fancy restaurant, which is one of the things that probably I have a reputation for. You go to a fancy restaurant, you guys are sitting there and you're doing whatever. And then the person is going to go to the most expensive thing on that menu and say, are they mad? Why are they charging this much? Akira, you don't want it. You don't want it, right? Okay, can you afford it? No. So why are you complaining about it? Go to the ones you can afford. Go to the ones that you want to eat. Go to the ones that you are willing to pay for and focus on that. There will always be an opportunity to complain. But what complaining does is that it brings so much negative energy around you that even your spirit just like you become that person. You almost become a mopey, a Debbie Downer. Because when you complain or petrol ya tura, then you complain or coke is expensive, then you complain or now Ramaphosa or already the green books, we can't use them anymore. You're always complaining, mate. It's okay. If you really feel like you don't want to, nah. Funny story. I was buying something at a store once, and then I don't know what I asked the lady, and then the lady said she doesn't know. She's a volunteer here. And I said to her, hey, Tloela, ke re wena wa volunteer. Then let someone come who's willing to work so that you don't volunteer. And I think when she said it, she thought that she was, just, yanking my chain. But something just went in me that day. And I was like, no. Tloela, that's why you will come here and not show up. That's why you'll come here and give us shoddy service, because we're now a volunteer. There's somebody who is passionate about this thing. So it's almost a space here, ngwana mo nga kene, a tla kgona hore a re fe service e tops. So that wena o tlo dule ko ntlong, because we're now a volunteer. You get what I'm saying? So it's those kind of things that if sometimes you just, showed a little bit of passion in some of the things that, especially in your job, listen, this thing gives you money every month without complaining, without asking you questions. Whether the money is small or whether the money is a lot, when it hits the date of payday, the money goes ti. So in turn for that, all you need to do is to show up every day, be positive, and be passionate about it. And maybe, just maybe, something might happen that you like. And that's my chat. Okay, the last and final one. This one, Yeah. Be a nice person. That's it. Be a nice person. Work out your faculties, every single one of them, your spirit, your soul, and body, to be a nice person. In a crowd full of people, let someone come to you and say, hey, it was your smile that attracted me to you. And I just thought maybe I should tell you that, this is what I'm going through. Or whatever the case is, just be a nice person. Greet people with a smile. Say thank you. Ask them how your day was. Just be a nice person. Especially if you are a Christian, be a nice person. Jesus loves you and he commands us to love. So love other people. And loving other people is just, when you greet someone, just say, hi, my name is Tumi. What's your name? How are you? How are you doing? Give them a hug if you are a hugger. Or sometimes just, when you shake their hand, hold the hand. Don't give them your fingertips. Just be a nice person. In the church community, in your family, at work, wherever you find yourself, even in your friend circle, be a nice person. There's these little trends where the enemy deceives us and makes us believe that, I don't like people, guys. I don't like people. Not good enough. Not good enough. Just be a nice person. Always give that outstretched arm of help, of assistance, of love, of assurance. Just be a nice person. That's all we need and we require from you. You will see how sometimes life just gets easier, gets nicer, gets better, just because when you greeted the person, you smiled. It does something for you too. Oh, it definitely does something for you. For someone who lives alone, I know exactly what I'm saying. Like sometimes you meet someone and there's this one girl at the gym. Oh, shout out to her. There was this one day I got to the gym and you could see man, I was not, the best. And I don't even know why. I really don't know what was happening. And as I walked in, she was just like, hey, Tooms. I was like, hey, how's it? And she gave me a hug. And after that, I was just like, I feel so much better. Thank you. Imagine if you could do that for someone else. And you can. You absolutely can. And that is what we are going to do this week. That is one of the things that we are going into the new week with. We are going to show one person an act of kindness. Just one. As you finish this video, just show one person an act of kindness. Send someone a message and saying, hey, I haven't spoken to you in a while. How are you doing? How are the kids? Huh? Even our pastors, guys, like, you don't know. Like sometimes, before I close this video, let me just tell you guys this. I'm that one person who will ask my pastor, how are your kids? And my friends are like, why are you asking pastor that? Because sometimes that's all the person needs. The person just needs somebody who will care enough to ask them how they are. And with that, we have come to the end of today's episode. I will see you next week, same time, same place, right here on your favorite podcast. Yes, I said it, your favorite podcast. Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. Have an absolute fantastic week.